What's going on, everybody? Carolina Combat Media back today. Today we're joined by a new Campbell transfer, Anthony Ferrari. Anthony, thanks for coming on the show.
Of course, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Kind of just speaking into new ventures at Campbell. I know you hit the portal, you were looking at some other places. What ultimately made Campbell the new perfect fit for you?
Yeah, what really made Campbell the perfect fit for me was getting to know Coach Dudley, talking to some guys on the team, like Kendrick Hodge, for instance, Bolatino, Brandon Bauer, who also just transferred here, my roommate, and just finding a group of guys that are on the same page as me mentally, as far as the training goes, the lifestyle, and we're locked in this year, and we're all going to lean on each other when we need to, and we're going to build off of each other as well and push each other. So I'd say the main thing was the mindset, that Coach Dudley is instilling and building in this program as a first year coach.
How has the transition been so far for you with your training? I guess just, academically as well.
Yeah, the transition, it's definitely been an adjustment. Um, it's a lot different out here than some of the other schools I've been at and areas I've lived in. A little more out there, a little more lot less around, but it's a lot less distractions. It's giving me space to grow. My faith with God. I've got some really good connections through the wrestling program, alumni, through the school, pastors, and just good role models, older guys that I meet with and I've been able to lean on. So that's really helped with the transition as far as the wrestling and lifestyle side of things. As far as the academic side, um, it's been no, pretty good, pretty normal. Classes here are a little tougher than most other schools, I feel like, but it's just because it's a smaller campus. Everybody knows each other and everybody's held to a higher standard, I feel like, you know. So besides that, everything's been great.
Yeah, speaking on team culture, I guess, how's it, the camaraderie been with the team, and who are some of your main training partners? So,
Yeah, so I'm still, ramping it up, getting into things for the season. Not going too crazy on the mat right now. Just being smart with my body and whatnot, and the mental, working on the mental side of things. But I got Kendrick Hodge. I got Pablo, who's another. He's another 157 pounder, 165 pounder guy. In that weight range, in that size. My roommate, Brandon Bauer. He's somewhere in the 141 to 157 pound range. So I got a lot of good partners in the room, and just doing individuals with Coach Dudley as well. Really focusing on the technical side of things and building off of that. Um, but the team camaraderie, it's been great. All these guys on this team here have welcomed me. I Everybody seems close. Or the new guys, the incoming freshmen, get taken care of. Everybody cares for each other, and it's really it seems like we're building something good here. Obviously, I just got out here a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, so we're still building those relationships and growing those bonds. But throughout the season, which this is going to be a great season for Campbell Wrestling, we're gonna grow and we're gonna turn from just teammates to friends to brothers, and that's how I look at it. So
absolutely.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, you spoke on Coach Dudley. I know, like you said, it's only been about a week or so. So, how's it been working under his leadership so far?
It's been amazing, to be honest. The energy he brings to the room, whether it's a morning run at 6:30 that we got, or team practice, or team lift. He's in there for everything. He's in there. He's sometimes he's doing the lifts with us, or he's still in shape. He gets on the mat. He's a younger guy, so it's good to have somebody that he's a role model, and I look up to him, and he is able to guide me. But at the same time, I feel like he can relate to me, and in a lot of ways, since he is a little bit younger, and that helps a lot too. Um, Working under his leadership, though, it's been awesome. I feed off of, and I feel like all athletes feed off of their coach's energy. If a coach is feeling anxious, an athlete's going to feed off of that. If a coach, Coach Dudley has that, he has a calm, spirit to him, but at the same time, he brings that energy, when it's time to get us fired up, when it's time to motivate us, when it's time to, maybe people are slacking off a little bit. He's there and he fits the role every single time for every single one of those positions. So it's been nothing short of phenomenal working with him.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been seeing you've been getting a lot of extra work in. Just how essential is that? Y'all got a really nice facility there, being able to kind of get in that work whenever you like.
I mean, I live, you know, I'm a 20-second walk from the wrestling room. Like I'm in my apartment right now. I'm a 20-second walk from the wrestling room. And I had an option of living 2.5 miles down the road at an apartment complex that was a little bit nicer, maybe. But I feel like it's essential, I like being right where I'm training. I like being right there. Morning workouts go right across the street. Late at night, I'm a big night workout guy. So whether it's going and getting a late night lift, going and getting some late night shadow wrestling footwork, just visualizing stuff, I'll go in there and I'll shadow wrestle for, 30 minutes, 45 minutes at night and just shut my eyes while I'm doing it and picture that I'm in the NCAA finals. I'm finishing my high C. I'm getting to my sweep. I'm snapping the guy and shooting a blast double leg through him. And I like to put myself in those positions mentally, in those environments mentally, so that when I am in those environments, it's nothing that we haven't felt.
Absolutely. How are you liking North Carolina so far? And I guess how different is it compared to some of the other places you've been before?
Yeah, I like North Carolina a lot. One thing I'd say, one of the biggest things I've noticed is how nice everybody is. To be honest, everybody. Not, I mean, I'm not gonna say every single person, obviously, but like I go to the grocery store, everybody's super nice. I go to the coffee shop down the street, even like just people driving on the highway, like everybody's a lot nicer than the people say in New Jersey or New York or
Oh yeah.
you know other places like that. But it has been an adjustment, just because there's not as much to do around me and whatnot. But it's, I really do think that it's a good thing. And I knew that that's how it was going to be coming into this. And that was actually something I'm trying to look at it as a positive because it gives me more space and quiet time to just kind of self reflect and, keep working on growing myself as a man, as a Christian, as a athlete, as a student, all those things, Um, so yeah, there's not a bunch going on, not too many distractions. It's easy to focus and lock in. That's how I feel.
Being a student athlete does come with its challenges. How do you navigate, schoolwork and wrestling and everything? Just how do you kind of do that with your daily routine?
So Campbell actually does a really good job of helping us out with that as athletes. There's a lot of tools we have here. We have free tutors. I have, and all the guys have an academic advisor. I meet with mine once a week. He helps me make sure I know exactly every single assignment for every class, what's due. I got tests coming up, what I need to study for, where I need to be at this hour. So everything, I'd say the biggest thing for juggling both of those things is just being organized with my schedule and having everything written out, not just on my phone, not just on my computer, but actually written out in a planner. So that's helped a lot. Um, and like I said, Campbell has really good resources here. Like that, I feel like for you to fail, like you would have to be trying to fail almost, with all the resources you have, you would have to be trying to not reach out and get help. But it's been good, and I'm looking forward to the upcoming season as well and the challenges that it's going to bring. Um, as far as the school side goes, though, everything's been great, been smooth.
Absolutely. Speaking on the upcoming season, what are you most excited about? And I guess what are some of your goals for this upcoming year?
Goals, NCAA champ. Not going to say what weight I'm going yet, but NCAA champ. Um, SoCon champ. Um, I got some personal mental goals, but if I say those, then it might give away the weight class.
Right, right.
Um, but I'm fired up for the season. It's going to be a good season, and let's not get too ahead of ourselves. One match at a time. But when people ask me my goal, my goal is to be NCAA champ this year, and I believe I'm in a position to do it. At the right weight, with the right partners, with the right coaching, and living the right lifestyle. And that's what it's going to come down to. That and just leaning on God and my faith. Those things,
Absolutely.
keeping those things close to me, close to heart. And at the end of the day, whatever happens, whatever happens is God's plan. All I can do is work my butt off and keep my head down and try and live the right lifestyle, stay close to God. That's where I'm at.
Absolutely. Yep. One of the cool events you guys will be competing in. I know the schedule's not out. Is the battle at Yorktown? So how excited are you for that event?
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. That's where we wrestle on the battleship, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I'm super excited for that. I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely going to be a fun one. It'll be cool wrestling in an environment like that, especially with the military personnel and stuff. I have a lot of respect for the military, so and some family members that were in the military as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be a good one, and I think that's just going to be a cool environment to wrestle in, and that's going to be a cool experience. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, speaking on family, you do have two other brothers, wrestling in college as well. Just how's the camaraderie with you guys, and just how cool is it for you as a brother, just all you guys being able to compete at such a high level?
Yeah, I mean, we're all super close. I FaceTime Angelo and AJ. I was on FaceTime with Angelo and a couple of his buddies out at Iowa because I'm still friends with some of the guys at Iowa. Them last night. I was on FaceTime with AJ today, just talking about wrestling. It's cool because we get to compare. We can talk and kind of compare, like, oh, what did you guys do for your morning workouts this week? Oh, this is what we did. Oh, this is what our practice schedule looks like. So we can kind of compare, what multiple teams are doing and kind of juggle and talk to each other about things. Or, if I have a question about this this angle on this shot or this setup, and I know AJ is going to know about that, I can call him. Or if it's something, with coming up to the underhook from wrestling on your knees, my younger brother does that a lot. I can call and talk to him about that. Or if it has to do with hand fighting a lot, they'll call me. And it's just a mix of combining each other's skills and supporting each other. I know my brothers feel the same way, and I know how I feel. I want nothing more than to see my brothers succeed, and
Absolutely.
that comes from just a place of love. Like I want nothing more than to see them succeed, and I find almost more joy, I would say, when I see one of my brothers succeed than even when I succeed, you know because especially my younger brother, but both of my brothers, because that's my younger brother. So I'm like, you know how his success is a reflection of AJ and me and how we were as older brothers. That's how I feel. Did we pass down the knowledge that we've gained? Angelo's had a huge
Absolutely.
advantage. He's had AJ, he's had me, his whole wrestling career, to pick our brains, to wrestle with us, to, get extra work in at the house. And I've had that with AJ as well. And now that we're all in college and at the Division 1 level, we all have that with each other, all three of us. And that's definitely something that's really cool and very useful when it comes to, just training and being smart about things in the technical side of things.
Absolutely. Kind of speaking on like mentorship, who's been some of your biggest mentors for you in your career?
Some of my biggest mentors in my career, my dad. My dad has been my biggest mentor in my life, in general, whether it's wrestling, my faith, um, anything, school, girls, like whatever, anything in life,
Absolutely.
I can call my dad and talk to him about it. And, besides my dad, I would say my older brother, AJ. He, especially the last about year and a half, but because I've really, seen the changes that he's made in his own life and his own mentality and his lifestyle. And I just, I try to reflect a lot of that, and I try and learn. I try and pull back the good out of everything that I see, and I try and implement that in my own life. And I'm still growing as a man and as a Christian, far from perfect, and I think everybody is, especially in this day and age. But I just think nobody's perfect, and that's not how it was meant to be. But when we repent and we're trying to grow and do the right things, then I know God sees that, and he doesn't look over that. Um,
Absolutely.
but mentors, yeah, my dad, AJ. Um, I've had some other people in my life, a couple pastors. Um, I mean, mainly them though. I lean on all my family though. I lean on my dad. I lean on my older brother. I lean on both my brothers. I lean on my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, who's a little older. And yeah, I mean, But my main mentors would be my dad and my older brother, I would say.
Where did the nickname Freight Train come from?
The nickname Freight Train, I actually didn't even come up with it. So it comes from blast double leg, freight train double leg, blasting straight through the
Right.
guy. And AJ actually came up with it one day because of my wrestling style. Not just because of the double leg, but because of my wrestling style. If you go and you watch some of my matches, I'm shooting, five, six, seven, eight shots, just boom, 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 right through the guy's face, like a freight train coming through. Like it's if there's something on the track, you see a freight train coming through, there's something on the track, that train's not stopping.
Right.
And that's kind of my mindset. I'm coming through regardless, whether that guy wants to move his face out of the way or not. I'm coming through and I'm getting that shot and I'm getting those points. And that's my mindset when I step out there. So, that's where that nickname came from.
Right now, you are focused on your wrestling career. I do know you have some MMA aspirations. Can you kind of speak on that or any?
Yeah. So I've had, some amazing opportunities in the MMA world as far as the training side of things. I've made some really good connections, and that's definitely something I will be jumping into after college. Um, I was thinking about going into MMA early just because of all the hate and, whatnot from the wrestling community. The wrestling community isn't a very loving community, when it comes to old timers, going in chat rooms and stuff and
Oh yeah,
just like
keyboard
start.
warriors.
Yep, exactly. The wrestling community's got a lot of keyboard warriors, and that they want to place judgment. Everybody wants to place judgment on everyone. On everyone. I'm not even just referring to myself, just all college athletes, especially wrestlers, though, in the wrestling community. Like, as if these aren't just, normal 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year old boys or men, that are still learning and growing. And so that kind of pushed me away for a little bit, but I sat down, I was talking to my dad and my brothers and, a couple people that are close to me. And and really, we all disagreed. I have too much God-given talent, and God-given ability to waste it. And God hates wasted talent. God hates wasted talent. How many people would, give an arm and a leg for the opportunities that I have because of my wrestling? And, I'm not like trying to sound cocky or anything, but a lot of people would. Only 1% of high school wrestlers go Division One. That's not even talking about who's getting scholarships and whatnot. So for me to waste an opportunity to be able to wrestle in college at such a high level and such a cool environment and cool time right now, I would be stupid. So, and I really missed wrestling too. Well, I was away from it for only a few short months with MMA, but still, I still missed it like crazy. As far as MMA goes, though, I've had some amazing opportunities. I don't know if you know who Dorian Oliveras is. He's, I believe, number one or number two last year in high school senior. He's a senior level grappler, but he's still in high school, and he's not even going to college. He's training MMA, he's training grappling. He's actually competing at a big tournament today and tomorrow this weekend, and I had the opportunity to train with him, to train with John Danaher in Austin, which if you know who that is, he's the best grappling professor in the world. I'm talking about Jason Nolf trains under him, Gordon Ryan, um, Isaac Michelle. You probably don't know that guy, but a couple of these, world champion grapplers, I had multiple chances for weeks on end to go out and train with. So my grappling is very high level. My striking, I was able to go out to Kill Cliff in Florida and train. Um, with some of the best kickboxing coaches in the world, guys like Michael Chandler sparring in there. Um, I mean, just plenty of opportunities. So, and that the MMA world has welcomed me with open arms. So after college wrestling, I will be transitioning to MMA for sure.
Still do have all 4 years of eligibility though, right?
Still got 4 years. Yep, that's
Yeah,
right. So 4 years of eligibility. Yeah, I um I had a medical red shirt last year, red shirt before that, and then a gray shirt before that.
gotcha.
So
Out,
yeah.
outside of wrestling, what are some of the things you kind of do, I guess, off the mat that I guess isn't academically or wrestling involved?
Let's see. I like to play spike ball. I recently actually started playing pickleball here on campus at Campbell. So you could catch me at the pickleball courts if you're ever in town. What else? I don't know. I like to go to like some of the other sports. Me and some of the guys went to the women's soccer game the other day. Go and watch that. Hang out with the boys, watch movies. I'm not a big video game guy, to be honest with you, but I'll play a little bit here and there. Um,
Absolutely.
and then just spending time with family and just honestly doing fun stuff, going to the lake, going cliff jumping, like just anything that's like active and fun, I like to do. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, that's mainly what I do outside of the wrestling room and classroom.
Yeah, as we wrap up, any kind of final message, I guess your fans, the Campbell supporters, anything like that, and where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so everybody can find me on social media at Freight Train Ferrari. Just spelt Freight Train and then Ferrari, my last name. Not too hard. Snapchat is Anthony 7. No, it's Anthony V Ferrari. That's my Snapchat. And my final message is just praise God. Everything is comes from God, and everything can be taken away by God. All this. I feel very blessed, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here at Campbell, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to compete this year, and to have a healthy body, and just I'm just grateful. Grateful would be keyword that I'd use in my life right now. Just trying to take a step back and realize everything that God has truly blessed me with. Regardless of anything else, realizing everything He's blessed me with and giving Him praise. And that praise just doesn't just come with the wins. That praise comes whether you win or lose, we praise God. And whether things are going perfectly our way or not, praise God. And give Him all the glory. And that's all I'd like to leave everyone with.
Absolutely. Well, Anthony, thanks for coming on the show, and best of luck with this upcoming season.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. It was great talking to you. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir.